And the biggest thing that between the competitive world and say the self-defense tactical world is this abhorrence of speed, right? Because of consequences and stuff like that. And nobody ever explained it well, right? You kind of just go, you make that philosophical jump, like I need to go fast, right? So if 80% of my top thing is precise and accurate, and that's twice as fast as you, I'm okay. But there's always like, nobody could explain it well, right? And then it was literally about 2 months ago, I'm talking to a guy, and he's like, so you're saying misses are okay, right? I go, yes. He's like, oh my God, gamer. Anyway, the name of the rye is Barrel Seagrass. Bro, the aroma was crazy. It was nuts. It was good. But no, the place... Cigar...
Clear cigar bar or something.
Well, as Scott looks that
Blend.
up, welcome to
sorry.
the Big Tex Whiskey Podcast.
Hell yeah.
Where we're talking about blends and ryes and cast strength and all that deliciousness when it comes to our little stash that we've got sitting there. That Badger Ordnance sent us.
Yeah, these two bottles are courtesy of Badger Ordnance.
Yeah,
that's their
cool.
preferred rye up there in Kansas. So,
and if you don't know who we're sitting here talking to, you haven't been around. You haven't been paying attention, because we've got Mr. Hunter Freeland back again for his second appearance, and the one, the only Scott Jedlinski. Modern Samurai Project.
I don't think that means anything. I'm the one and only.
The Dot Father.
It's probably a good thing there's only one of you.
Yeah, there's only one.
The Dot Father, is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's
there you go.
There you go.
We're getting it trending.
Hunter, on this
That should be a
podcast, you should
t-shirt.
give your opinion more. It didn't happen that much on the last podcast you were on.
Yeah. Well, I'll just... We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how
Take
it goes.
take another.
We'll just go off of each
Take
other.
another sip there, if you will. But you're in you just wrapped up day 3 training, right?
Yes, day
but
3
day
of training.
1,
But yeah,
day
day one
one.
of the second class, 2 sold out classes at the big BTO range. Super honored and
That's
blessed.
fantastic.
And it was the last class of the year. Finished up with 103 classes this year.
That's insane.
And my reward is 9 days off before we do it all over again.
Dude, I was talking to Brian yesterday or 2 days ago on the podcast, and you were an absolute madman. 103 classes in 1 year. That's some time on the road.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So you're talking about 2,000 plus students.
Yep. Yeah. So if you did that, if you did just simple math, right, 100 classes, I actually average about 24 students a class, but just even math, right? 20 students, 100 classes, 2,000.
Yeah.
It's more than that, but I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's good times, man. It's good times.
For those of our listeners that might not be acquainted with you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you transferred from what you were doing into this.
Yeah, so I'll just do the intro I say in class, right? So the guys, I'm very clear about staying in my lane, right? All my experience with the red dot pistol has nothing to do with law enforcement or the military. I am, a lifelong martial artist, right? Starts off with Taekwondo when you live in a Korean household, boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, and since 1996, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where I live in Metro DC in Leesburg, about 23 miles west of the swamp. It is impossible to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu without training with face shooters, right? Whether it be local, state, federal, and military guys, right? So through that, right, just met a couple guys that were federal feds, and they got me into shooting. I helped them with Jiu-Jitsu. They got me into shooting, and then it just turned into another sport for me. Where it really started to turn for me, and where I really started getting better is when I started approaching shooting like I do Jiu-Jitsu, right? Understand what the technique is, look at people that are better on you, analyze their technique, learn what it is, rep it, and then put it under pressure with some sort of standard or competition. first where Ike and I actually met, where it was a podcast, which will remain nameless. But that's where we first met, 2013, 14.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day. Trying to
I can't remember how
date
far
it.
back that
Yeah.
was. Yeah. He was the up and coming, retailer, right? I was the red dot guy, not because I was any good at it, because I had like 30 guns with dots on them and stuff. And we just became friends, right? From there, fell in with the guys at primary and secondary, right? I think I was the first, squared away civilian, with inquisitive questions and intelligence so I just fell in with those guys. And, Matt Ladfair really pushed me into starting to teach, right? And I was like, I really don't want to teach, man. I just want to be like that elite students, because you instructors, you're awesome, but you guys can't agree on a goddamn thing. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be a part of that. But he goes, look, man, you need to teach, so I'll do everything for you. Just find a range. So I found a range just to get him to, stop bothering me. Found a range. He did everything. 20-person class sold out in an hour. Right. So I said, this is interesting. Right. So then, so I was a mortgage banker for 26 years, right? Before I got into this. And the way rates work, right, is that when the economy is doing well, rates go up. Sucks for refinances, right? When the economy isn't doing well, like under Obama and, Brexit and all that other stuff, rates stay really low, which was great, kind of that dichotomous life that I live, right? Well, in 2017, Trump's good for business. Rates are going through the roof. Half my income is gone. So I'm like, started to supplement this thing, right? So I think in 2017, July of 2017 was my first class. I think that year I did maybe 15 classes, maybe, right? And then people started calling. A couple of big turning points in my career was the first one, OTOA, the Ohio Tactical Officer Association Conference, the biggest one in the country, right? Asked me to come teach, which is an honor because, I'm not law enforcement, but they asked me to come and teach, right? And that got on my resume. Probably the second biggest one was the guys at Shooter Symposium. Shockey and all them asked me to come, right? And then right after that first year, the Shooter Symposium in 18, was it 18?
Probably, yeah.
In 18, Houston PD went full retard on the dot, right? Like they approved anything, right? If you had like a cardboard box with a red nail polish on there, you could wear that on patrol, right? And then PD started calling, right? So in 18, in the mid of 18, I think I had like 40 classes scheduled. Well, the next year, right? Because open enrollment's on the weekends, LE trains on the weekdays. It hopped from like 45 or 50 to 75 to 100 and then 100 and then 103. And that's where we're at right now. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So that's how I got into it. Yep.
It's pretty cool that the LE side of the house went all in on saying you don't have the LE background, you don't have the military background, but you're teaching what we want, what we're exactly looking for. We're not looking for you to show us how to use it tactically.
Right.
We just want to know how to use it.
How to get faster.
Yeah. How to get faster, how to get more efficient.
How to be faster, how to be more accurate, how to be more efficient and stuff like that. I mean, I still get, it's not as much as before, but I still get that. Like, he's not a cop. And to that, I'm like, okay, Weber, dude, I'm not teaching a class on like post-incident report writing. Yeah. Where you have to be a cop to be able to do that, right? All I'm doing is getting you out of the gun, find that dot, stop over confirming it, shoot fast and accurate, and then you can apply it to whatever you want to do. I'm not talking about tactics. I'm not going outside of my lane,
You're
next
teaching
question I ask this
small team CQB or anything.
Oh, yeah. So the first time, another boon is like TTPOA, Texas Tactical Police Officer Association, right? They bring in instructors all over, right? And they asked me to come out, and I probably teach for them between Round Rock, Dallas, and Houston, 8-10 times a year. I'm out here in Texas, right? So I forgot the point of that, but that was the other boon about it. So people are like, wow. So the second time I taught at Houston, right, I had Jim Dexter with me.
Oh, yeah.
And on their indoor range, right, you have to wear body armor, right? So I had some soft armor on, and of course Jim puts out there, great first day of Modern Samurai Projects, red dot pistol, small team tactics. Well, that just sent the internet nuts, right? And everyone's like, what's he doing teaching tall team tactics, blah, 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 right? And other people are like, what are small team tactics? What are we talking about here, right? And Jim replies back, it's an IQ test, bro. Yeah, you know what I
And you
mean?
failed.
So yeah, just, get over it. And then I'll ask him, I was like, hey dude, your defensive tactics program, did that come from a cop? No. Then why does shooting have to come from that? Again, I'm not talking about tactics. I'm not talking about CQB. I'm not talking about vehicles, right? I'm not calling to talk about any of that. Just, hey, here we are. We're going to shoot that. Let's do it fast and accurate, right? And it's resonated with a lot of people, man. Half my classes, I would say, 45 to 50% are LE only. You know what I mean? So it's a good time. It's a good time. So that's where I'm at right now these days. Yep. And of course, we got, my wife, Beverly, she runs the business from home. She works incredible long hours every day to make this one of the smoothest running things so that I can concentrate in teaching. She does everything else in the background, dealing with hosts, dealing with sponsors, dealing with getting my ammo and my targets there. She does an amazing job. And I think that's why we're so successful, because we're so easy to host.
Yeah.
So, yep. So that's
definitely one of the easiest folks we've ever had in.
Yeah, I think so.
Very, very painless.
We're not asking for green M&Ms with W's on them, or catering, or 30 VTAC walls or anything like that. So yeah, it's a good time.
And then since we have Hunter here,
yeah,
you have your Modern Samurai Endorsed Instructor program.
Yep. Endorsed Instructor program, which bleeds into guys who can AIs for me, and then bleeds into staff instructors, guys who can teach my class on their own, which Hunter is one.
And that's something that's coming up a lot more in 2023, correct?
A lot more, yeah. So the thing I'm most proud about Hunter right, is obviously his shooting ability and what he's been able to accomplish, right? But I've been telling my staff guys, like, look, guys, you don't need to wait for me. The opportunity is not going to fall from the sky. Go get it. Right now, the 4 classes he has scheduled right now under his own, under my flag, he went out and got those for the most part. Right. So super excited about that. Now, Bev put a post out and people are like, because I'm booked through, for all intents and purposes, I'm booked through 2025. Right, with enough hosting requests to be through 2026. The space is just not there for me. Yeah. So the staff instructors right now, it's a thing like, hey, if you think this is it, you got to go with one of these other guys, And now that the majority of the staff guys all have black belt patches, right, and are becoming more well known in their own right, because they all run their own companies too, right? They don't just work for me; they run their own stuff too. It's exciting. It's exciting to see that, and it's exciting to see these guys go out there and make good money, right, and teaching their knowledge. And it's even better for me to make money in my sleep. Right?
That's the dream.
Okay, there it is, man. There it is.
It's an upside.
That is. It is. You're teaching a class. You can actually almost be in 2 places at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're not carbon copies. I don't want them to be carbon copies, right? I mean, it's not going to be contradictory to what I teach. But for example, like at the end of my classes, I teach the float drive drill, right? Hunter likes to teach his version of the accelerator. What do you call it?
It's just a throttle control drill.
A throttle control drill with 3 targets at different distances. Teaching the same thing, right? Teaching the same thing, but just in a different little fashion. I'm absolutely okay with that. So there you go.
And the cool thing about that is you can go take Hunter's class one time and then come back and take your class later. And now you can compare notes on that and get 2 quality instructors feedback, but on this under the same brand.
Bring two of the same things differently.
Exactly.
And that
can be everything.
That's exactly it. Because like certain ways of explaining something resonates with different people differently.
Yep.
So hearing the same thing from 2 different people in 2 different formats or ways can actually, one might get through and the other may not.
Yeah, one department may go like, "Oh, we love Jedi, but those bad jokes." Where he barks at people like, they're in formation or something like that. They may like that. Hey, do what you want to do. No, you don't do that.
Nice, man. There's no barking.
There's no barking. Okay, whatever.
It's aggressiveness. We'll say it's aggressiveness.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm passionate about
Yeah,
that.
it's passion.
There it is.
Formatted direction. How about that?
Oh, that's one of the new Onus hats, isn't
It
it?
is.
Those look good. Those look nice. And we've got some onward research over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They hate us because they ain't own us.
That's right. I can't get on this.
All right. So you used to compete a lot, right?
Yep.
That's kind of how you got projected up. Do you?
Kind of, sort of.
It kind of validated a lot of like what you were doing. So you're a grandmaster?
No, I'm a master class shooter.
Master class. Okay.
Yeah. So in the grand scheme of things, right, when you shoot the classifiers that they have up there, a master shooter has done complete, like they're like 85% of the best in the world. A grandmaster is 95, right? I think my number right now, if I'm not mistaken, don't persecute me, internet, when you look it up. I think it's like 91%, right? Yeah, my whole thing is why I never made GM is because this took off.
Yeah, you got
Right.
money. You got money to make.
Yeah, the money's more important than a little card that says I'm, a paper GM. You know what I mean? So, yep. Validated stuff. Sure, I guess. The thing about competition is that it is a formatted test that everybody has to go to. You didn't agree to it. You didn't make it up, but you have all these metrics. So let's go get better. Yep. Yeah. But everybody calls me a competitor. I'm like, okay, so I competed heavily for like 2 years.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Everything I do is for self-defense, but people have to put you in the box. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. People got to do that, and I'm okay with that. So,
How'd you come up with the black belt standards?
yeah, so people love standards. You know what I mean? And it was kind of an evolution into it, right? So I guess starting from the backward going forward, they were written down on paper and on Jim Dexter's coffee table.
Nice.
Yeah, because people kept on asking me for the standards and stuff. And every time I did a class, right, it was built around 4 things, okay? The 3 and 2 drill has been it since the very first class, right? So up close, right, because red dots are slow close. No, let's destroy this myth, right? The draw to one shot has always been a standard, right? Back from cowboy days to Bill Munden to everything, you know what I mean? So that's a standard. The bill drill is the height of speed and accuracy at an intermediate distance. So that was it. And then, the 25 yard is the golden standard for distance, right? And I just did it to an A zone, right? And the class started to develop into those things. So people love standards. They're like, what's a standard? What would you do with this one? How can I know I'm progressing? Yada, yada. So one day after a class at Alpha Range in McHenry, Jim and I just went back to his place and was like, let's do it. Boom. And we actually, a lot of people don't know this. On my website, you have grades of belts based on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belts, right? So congratulations, everybody's a white belt, right? But there's blue times, purple times, brown times, and black belt times, right? And it's really taken off, and the class has been more structured around that, right? Which makes sense. Some people say my classes are just about the standards. Okay.
But they cover a wide variety of skills. So if you can pass the black belt, you're probably a pretty good shooter.
Well, and here's the
many
thing.
different aspects.
Exactly. Here's the interesting thing, right? It's like, so the class shouldn't be about the standards. So in school, when you went to math class, you talked about history. No, man, the class should be around the test, right? And here's the test. See where you rack and stack in the test, right? And then in class, we talk about the national standards, the class standards, and the black belt patch standards, right? And see where people rack and stack in that. A brief description of those. I won't go over the times, but here's how I feel about it. Some people think I'm full of hubris. That's okay. If you can do my national standards, right? For example, the national standard on the 3 and 2 is 3 seconds. On the one shot, it's 1.5. On the bill drill, it's 3 seconds. And at 25 yards, it's 2 seconds, right? If you can do my national standards, you'll be the best top 2 or 3 shooters in any tactical pistol class you take, right?
Easy.
My class standards, I guess I will go over the times. The class standards, right, for the 3 and 2 is 2.5. The one shot is 1.25. The bill drill is 2.5, and then the 25 yard is 1.75. If you can do my class standards, you'll be the best shooter in any tactical pistol class you take, including the instructor, right? Save a couple awesome instructors out there, right? You do my black belt patch standards, you need to start that side hustle LLC and start charging money and teaching people how to shoot the dot. Because if you don't, you're selfish, right? And you need to share your gift. So that's how I feel about those standards in the class, right? And that's what it fits everybody. You could be a grandmaster. You could be a person who is safe and knows the 4 firearms rules of safety and wants to get the level. There's a place for everybody, and everybody gets attention regardless of your skill level. So
I like the standards quite a bit because it combines a lot of different aspects of it. You have the up close stuff.
Yep.
You have the long, accurate shot, but you still got to be very fast and very efficient.
Right.
You still got to make that accurate shot at 25 yards and not a lot of time, And you've got, I think it's a pretty good set of skills that you have to be able to pass.
Yeah.
And you can't be slacking anywhere. you
Yeah.
know?
And it's throttling.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Right.
that's something
You got to learn how to throttle. Well, a lot of people go, well, the 3 and 2 is the easiest, so they sleep on it and they throw one.
Yep.
Right. Or, they're all in on the bill drill, right? I can't tell you how many people have had the bill drill and failed the other 3,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you get through all that, you're like, okay, one shot, 1.5 to the A zone, right? They know how to throttle it, and bam, 97 to the ground.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
there.
it's, yep. Been there, done that?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Into the ground.
Not in the
No.
ground. Definitely just breezing through it, and then it's like, oh, let's do
Would you do
something.
that? Nashville?
Yeah.
Right? He was
Like
right on it
91.
before he earned his first patch, right? It was bam! 92. Delta.
Yep.
Bro.
Yeah.
You had
You had half a
You got
second.
a half a second
yeah,
to look at.
yeah, point
Gotta get the
32
bullet out of the gun,
yeah,
though.
0.52 left over to get this done. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
But the very next time, Minneapolis nailed it.
Yep.
Absolutely
It's a
nailed
fun
it,
time.
man. It was
So
good.
how many black belt patches have been awarded so far?
21. Yep, 21 shared by 17 people, 16 or 17.
16.
So Hunter, you have 2, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Kirk-
Donovan Moore has 3. Kirk Clark has
Kirk's got
2.
2.
Yep, and that's it.
Cool.
Yep, and whatever math that comes out to.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most recent one was earned by Chris Brown, who is the sheriff for Cleburne County in Arkansas.
Oh,
So yeah, bro.
the-
Command staff.
yeah.
Right.
That's legit.
Yep. He was AI for me at Royal Range out in Nashville, and he just earned it, and it was gorgeous. First one to do it with the Walther PDP,
Oh, nice.
and he was shooting that hot ass SIG ammo. Good Lord Almighty! But control, man. It was good. Super proud of him, man. Super proud of him. He is he's setting the bar for command staff and police.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's unheard of.
Yep.
Scoot.
That's actually really encouraging to hear.
Yep.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. He's a staff instructor too. We just need to announce it, right?
Yeah.
Because I told him, like, whether you want to be or not, man,
Yeah.
if they know a sheriff had a black belt patch, right, you're going to get agencies calling you. So
Yeah.
might as well make this official. So we're
That's
going to change that
fantastic.
up in just a little bit. So
It's incredible.
It's pretty cool. So when you transitioned, you mentioned it. You were rolling with the Fed boys in Virginia, and had you been shooting before that? Had you been into firearms any?
So the way I explained it is I owned a gun.
Okay.
Right. So to get into like, so one of the guys, right, he was State Department's MSD, right, and huge guy. His name was Al. Huge guy, 6'5", 300 pounds, pure muscle, but kept on getting deployed, right. So this is the late 2008, 2009 type of time frame. Then when he come back, I mean, he would win, but he would win out of hate, not technique. He would get hurt. He'd hurt other people, right? So I said, hey, bro, just, I got a key to the gym, right? We didn't have a lot of big people at that time, so he was good for me. Let's roll, in the morning, 7 a.m. or something like that, a couple times a week. And eventually, 2 months later or something like that, he got his blue belt, right? And he goes, hey, bro, I need to pay you back, right? I'm like, that's cool. You're doing the country's work. He's like, nah, well, do you shoot? And I'm like, I own a gun. So very lucky, Silver Eagle, right in Ashburn, Virginia, 5 minutes from my house. I could go shoot whenever I want. And up in DC, Northern Virginia, right? All the ranges let you draw from a holster, right? Because a lot of their money comes from, letting Fed, state, and local people do their quals. Well, if you can't draw, so their insurance has to cover it. Right. So if the insurance covers it, the civilians. That's where most places around the country don't let you do it because
Right.
insurance won't cover it.
Yeah.
You let them draw. So
Yeah, up there, I mean, you're probably 80% of the range traffic is
Yeah.
some sort of badge carrying person.
It can be. Yep. It can be.
And so he took you to the range,
Yep.
showed you some stuff.
Yeah. All wrong. 100% wrong. It was, and I love Al to death. Don't get me wrong, right? But we even joke about that these days, right? But he taught me pistol shooting from a person whose primary is always a rifle.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Crush the gun, lean forward, lock out your elbows, all that other stuff. But it introduced me to that. You know what I mean? And through the years, just morphed into being a more efficient shooter. Looking at jiu-jitsu, looking at USPSA and stuff like that, and melding all that stuff together and making it teachable. I think. So.
And when did you start experimenting with dots?
2011, 2012. Yeah. So my first dot gun was an FNX 45 tactical
Oh,
with a Burris fast fire.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, dude. I used to carry that thing, bro. Right.
Wow.
Imagine how heavy, right?
Yeah.
And I had Extendo 45. Oh, dude.
But you got the real estate.
Oh,
You're-
sure.
you're
I could hide
small.
an
You go-
MP5 if I wanted to. Right. But still, it
Aren't
doesn't matter
you
how
right
big
now?
you are. It's still going to drag down your belt no matter what you got, right?
Yeah.
So it's fun. And then that got to be too heavy. So then I got an M&P core when that first came out.
Mhm.
And I had a J point on there, right? Replace that thing every 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then finally I changed it out for a Trichicon RMR 06. And I think right around that time is when I started training with different people and stuff like that, just to see what was going on. And, good times for there. So, yeah.
Who'd you start training with back then? If you could name drop a few.
Yeah, well, who was one of the John Murphy,
Okay.
right? So John Murphy was out there. Matt Jaques was out there back then. Couple local dudes at the Silver Eagle range, right? Like I tell the story, retired Marines. That's where the Marines are riflemen, not pistoleros. Sorry, Ernest Langdon, you're not included in that. Justin Dial, sorry, bro. Yeah. And then, yeah, that was back then before I really knew who, what I was and how to sift through things, After that, I pretty much trained with everybody that came through Northern Virginia, which was everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yep.
What are you shooting right now?
Yeah. So, if the people don't know, so I'm sponsored by Walther, right? I'm on the Walther Defense Division. What I have on me right now, my carry gun and everything like that is a 5-inch Walther PDP. I was very fortunate to have some input on that gun. Like me, I can't have anything stock, right? Because I got too many friends in the industry that'll do stuff for me for free. So the frame is stippled by Boresight.
Oh,
The slide is done up all fancy in a green camo and ported by Vinny at Monsoon Tactical, right? Sporting a Trichicon RMR, a base pads by Floyd's, right? And a magwell from Parker Mountain.
nice.
Yep. And guide rod from AJ Zito Practical Performance.
I just want to talk about Ben at Boresight. Like every polymer, if I'm going to get work done on a polymer gun, he's the only one that's touching it.
Cool.
Like he does awesome work. Can't say no good things about him.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Been using him for years.
Great stuff. Yeah. And I mean, he's the OG on that. People come and go, but he's been around for a long time. He is the epitome, the standard for a fighting plastic gun.
Mm-hmm.
I think, right? For
I think that's fair.
That. Yep. Absolutely.
That's easy.
And then AJ, he's on the staff as well, right?
Yep, AJ is probably the OG staff guy for me,
Yeah.
right? He is for me the most. Has probably done the most independent classes for me. When I went down with the COVIDs, he taught 6 classes and stepped up all by himself, right, and saved me for that. He's also a gunsmith. He's also got his own company, Practical Performance. Amazing individual, right? If you run a 1911 2011 platform, you carry that thing, and you're not taking his 1911 2011 driver class, you're wrong. You're wrong. So
And we need to get him up here.
Yeah,
for
I've been meaning to do that.
yeah,
I think he'd be great to have up here.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with all the staccato people we have running around up here.
Yeah.
Like we saw a ton of staccatos up here.
yeah. And this class is great because not only is it just like, this is when you take off your safety, right? It's how to keep that thing running and tuned. He built me a custom one and I love that thing, but I don't know the difference between extractor and whatever, on that thing, right? People talk about mainsprings. And I'm like,
I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it takes a man's life.
That's right. So he tells you how, in a layman terms, how to maintain that thing to keep it running at the highest possible. And then you shoot. Right.
Yeah.
And, AJ has a black belt patch. He is a high level master class shooter in USPSA, on the edge of Grandmaster. Teaches his own classes, has some joint classes with Tim Herron, a wealth of knowledge. And if I had time, I would take that class. You know what I mean? So, yep, outstanding stuff.
Did you get your last black belt patch with your staccato?
I did.
You got your first one with
A staccato.
Staccato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get your concealed black belt patch yet,
Not yet. That's my
Right.
next thing. So it'll be concealed with a plastic gun.
because I think we talked about that in the last
Lay the wood down.
the
Yep.
last the last podcast. I'm the
Out of
only
an
one
MSP
slurring my
tier
speech. So I'm not
1
drinking.
holster. So
That's fantastic. So, kind of back to your teaching style. So I hosted you at Saddle River Indoor Range
Yep.
back in 2019, maybe, probably right there at the
Yeah.
end before I left, 2019. And I had you for one day in there.
I was
because-
there
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Because we had you were teaching for TTPOA.
in Houston PD,
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, Houston PD. And so one of the things that I really enjoyed about the class was the way you broke down and presented the material.
Mhm.
And do you have any formal instruction training, or is that just what you developed after doing the classes so much, or did that come from you coaching people in jiu-jitsu?
Yes, and I was a mortgage banker for 26 years, and most of that time was held at either director, regional manager, or VP level. So I've been training forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a combination therein, right? But there is no substitute for actually doing the thing that you're doing,
Mhm.
right? What hits, what doesn't hit, sometimes being an instructor, I've said that it's pretty close to being a stand-up comedian, right? Things may sound awesome on paper, but they don't resonate when you actually deliver them live, right?
Mhm.
Jokes have changed, right? And all my jokes are to bring the point home. You know what I mean?
Like, look at the dolphin and
Dolphin and
mayonnaise.
mayonnaise.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
that's-
cult thing now.
Yeah, it's
you know
its
what
own
I mean?
little thing.
Yeah, it's so well known now. People don't laugh when I say the joke. And that kind of irks me, right? And then that same person who laugh, bought a thing of Petzl from you guys with the sticker on it.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, right? Yeah. So training people that way. The biggest influence because it's a physical thing that we are doing has come from jiu-jitsu, right? Everything has 3 standards. Everything has almost 3 techniques on how to do things, right? And just the further articulation in. The backbone of the class, right? Even though it was only one day, is pretty much the same as now, but the level of detail of how I explain it is probably 20-fold more of really getting deep into the weeds on stuff so that people can break it down and learn it fairly quickly.
One thing I like about, I don't know if you're still doing it in your class, but you have to kind of know where the wheels fall off.
Mhm.
You got to know what fast feels like. So,
Yep.
I think it was out of the ranch where we stepped up to the berm. We're right there at the berm,
Yep.
and we're just draw as fast as you can and fire right into the berm.
Mhm.
Not worried about accuracy. You
Yep.
just have to know what fast feels like
Sure.
to know. You have to know where the wheels fall off, dial it back a little bit,
Yep.
and then see where you're at, and then progress
Yeah.
yourself. But if you don't know
Yeah.
what fast feels like,
Yeah.
you can't go there.
Yeah, but you also need the technique to support that speed.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So what a lot of people will tell you, especially in the competitive world, USPSA world, and there's nothing wrong with this, is that in order to go fast, you have to go fast. And I get that. My only detraction from that is first we need to have technique and efficiency. Otherwise, your body's going to learn how to do it. But if you stop doing that thing for a while, your body forgets how to do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But if you have the mental technique, right, the philosophical technique, what I'm talking about, then you don't do it for a while. Then it just takes a couple of dry fires to get back onto pace, right? One of the words I've been using recently a lot is calibration, right? The only way you can calibrate something, right, is through trial and error, right? Calibration can be, your central nervous system, right, which is related to your vision, which is related to the dot, the size of the target, trigger finger, and your grip, right? The only way to calibrate things is to go faster than you've gone before, but with proper technique and see what happens, right? A great thing, like for example, with exercise, right? Nobody says, I'm going to go run a marathon today when I've never run before. No one's going to pull 500 pounds in a deadlift without having done it before, right? That being said, you don't get to 500 pounds by doing 135 over and over and over again, right? You got to pull 250 and feel what it feels like to fail. Your CNS opens up, your body calibrates, it gets stronger and or faster, or it can run longer distances, right? So you've got to push that just like you do with every other physical thing.
That's a good analogy.
In practice, though.
Yeah.
In practice, so that the time that you find out that you don't have the level of skill is not in the test, so. Yep. And so that's the only thing I do with speed is like, what are we learning from that speed? Are you videoing yourself? Are you marking down the time, right? Are you going so fast that you can't retain anything that you're doing so that you can calibrate it? Without calibration, you're just wasting bullets.
Yeah.
You're just wasting bullets.
Mental masturbation.
Yep.
Or,
pretty much. Ballistic masturbation.
Ballistic masturbation.
That's
not
right.
mental.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
You were right. You were on.
It was right there. It was right there.
It's a
But,
form of it,
mental
for sure.
could be so many different things.
Right.
Ballistic kind of narrows it down.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, ballistic masturbation is the preferred term.
Yeah. How'd you come up with the calibration? This is one of the reasons why I really wish I could have taken your class this weekend, but come on. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. So every year,
She'll have another one.
every year she schedules her birthday around
My classes,
something that I want to do.
Yeah.
It's so selfish of her. Please don't watch this.
That's how it goes.
But how'd you come up with that? How did you say, well, this is
Yeah. So like most things, right? I try and keep as directed as I am in teaching the POI. I try and learn something in every class, right? And the biggest thing that between the competitive world and say the self-defense tactical world is this abhorrence of speed, right? Because of consequences and stuff like that. And nobody ever explained it well, right? You kind of just go, you make that philosophical jump where I need to go fast, right? So if 80% of my top thing is precise and accurate, and that's twice as fast as you, I'm okay. But there's always nobody could explain it well, right? And then it was literally about 2 months ago, I'm talking to a guy, and he's like, so you're saying misses are okay, right? I go, yes. He's like, oh my God, gamer, right? I go, misses are okay in practice if you learn from them, right? And use them as information against your successful runs and calibrate them in the middle. And he said, what? I said, calibrate in the middle, right? And I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. And then, you think of race car drivers, right? Right? Their level of skill in going 230 miles an hour, right? Trading paint or an inch away from each other. Their level of calibration is through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Name a champion race car driver that's never put his car into the wall during practice. You can't do it, right? Name the champion marathon runner that doesn't always run 40 miles instead of just the 27 whatever 0.2. I don't run, so I don't know. 26.2. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You have to build up that surplus of skill, and the only way to build up that surplus of skill is to go beyond what you can do now safely in practice and learn how to calibrate that to make the norm. Right.
When I first started shooting matches, and you'll know who the guy I'm talking about right now. When I talk about it, is Jim Shanahan.
Yeah.
I shot a match at my home range. I don't know if he's taken your class yet or not. I think he's getting ready.
He will here in 2 months, I think.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
Jim's fantastic shooter. Been in this industry for a long, long time. And I think one of the first things he ever said to me, we were shooting a match. I was on his team. I'd made sure I'd signed up for his team. I really didn't know him yet. I shot a stage and I cleaned it and didn't drop anything. He goes, you could have shot that faster. Everybody's like, hey, good run, Chris, good run. He's like, you shot it too slow. I'm okay. Yeah. I did. I did because I wasn't pushing myself fast enough, and that falls right into that, misses are okay.
Yeah. But so the other thing, and I'm looking forward to meeting them, and that was been told to me. It's been told to everybody that's ever competed, right? The difference with me is okay, how? And it's just do it faster. Okay, bro.
Yeah.
Grip the gun hard and shoot outfits. I get it, right?
Yeah.
Now, tell me how. Tell me how. Tell me why I need to switch feet when I'm shooting with one hand. Tell me why.
Yeah.
Tell me how. Because if you tell me how, I'll do it right now. If you give me this nebulous thing of I just need to shoot faster, that's when you get the C-class guy just spraying bullets.
Yeah.
Right? And then the tactical guy going, you can't miss fast enough to win. That and we fall down this thing. Tell me why.
Yeah.
Competitors do a horrible job of doing it. They do absolutely. How many times you go out to a gym? Hey, bro, how do you do that? I just grab the gun hard and shoot alphas, bro. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Tell me how you do it. Oh, you don't know how you do it. Then just say that.
Yeah.
Just say I put 1,000,000 rounds down range and my body has figured it out, right? And tell me how you do it. Unfortunately, on the tactical side, it's the same thing, and where I've just tried to match. If you don't tell the why and the how on the jiu-jitsu mat, you get laughed out of the art. If an instructor doesn't demo in jiu-jitsu, they get laughed out of the art. You know what I mean? If you say you're this great guy, blah, 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 but when you compete, you've never done anything, well, you get laughed out of the art. You know what I mean? So just bringing those two things together, right, to be able to prove through, teach people how to do it, get the results right now, and you apply it to whatever you want to. So.
Now that you're talking about the switching feet, I remember that from the class. You having us do that.
Yeah. Have you switched feet in the class? Yeah. I don't do that anymore.
You don't do that anymore?
Nope. And a lot of things in the development of that class is I still did things that just because everybody else did them, switching feet, right? I actually argue against switching your feet now.
Well, no, you argued against.
Oh, I did.
Feet.
I did. Okay.
Back then, it was like you're like, all right, do this.
We're gonna show you this, but
and now do this. All right, and now switch your feet back. See, what did that do? What did that give you? What did it? Nothing. It made you slower. So.
Oh, I didn't realize I did that far back.
Oh yeah,
yeah. People ask me like, when did you install this? I'm like, bro, I don't know.
It's a constant.
I don't
You're
know.
talking about
I can constantly evolve.
Constant
Like
evolution.
today, I just told him. There's going to be a shift in the POI right now, right? So when we're doing the wave, right, getting that grip and everything like that, I used to say, well, if everyone had a problem and they're so afraid to put their thumb on the slide on their modern weapon, right, let's go ahead and do this now. Now we're just doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Before we get in the wave, everybody get your gun out, right? Get my grip that I've already shown you. Put your thumb and put it into the slide hard. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to see what happens. And then bang! Did your gun stop? No. Then put your thumb on the slide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it gets people over it and it resonates with everybody. So that now is part of the POI at the beginning of the wave. Get your gun out, put your thumb into the slide. And when nothing happens to the slide, there you go.
Just minds blowing one
Yeah.
after another. It's like, oh, I thought I was going to rip my
Yeah.
palm off.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you still temporary tattooing people with a Sharpie?
Oh, am I still drawing on with the Sharpie? Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a very.
I don't
good
do
visual.
the whole, if you get a tattoo of it, you get a free class.
Yeah.
Because 10 people, right, actually took me up on that offer.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah.
10?
Bev's like, hey, bruh, that's like $6,000. What are you doing? Oh, my bad. I was joking.
Yeah.
But when they do it, I'm going
Holy
to live up
shit.
to my word.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Still do that. I think it's that I don't think that will ever
That's
change.
a really good visual.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
thing. Like you'll be on the line. Like I've taken a couple classes, and every time it's like mine's. It really resonates with people.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
just learning from that, right? So
Yeah.
my good buddy Dave White, he's the main firearms director for FLETC in Charleston, South Carolina, right? He had taken a couple classes with me. His guys came to a class where he was helping out, and then he just here's how. Let me explain it this way. And he drew on the hands. I'm like, yeah, man, and that's where that came from.
It's funny, like if you'll be at symposium. I know you weren't there last year, but when
Yeah.
past couple times when you'd been there, you'd see people walking around
Mhm.
with the lines.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I knew you were in Scott's class.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
there you go. Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
So let's get into how have you started picking your AIs? What does that look like? Like if I'm like I want to be a modern samurai instructor.
Well, hunters because of the beard.
100%.
Only because I assure
Yeah.
you.
And I know he's shot with you a bunch.
Yep. So to be an endorsed instructor, right? It's so yeah, I just put it out because it's not a thing to like anybody can be an endorsed instructor, right? It's
You
they're
send
pretty
in your
much
packet,
handpicked.
pay $1,000.
Exactly. It's not that. Yeah, it's definitely not.
You
that.
get your little card and
wait for me to retire, right? Yeah, it's not that, right? So here's how it is, right? Here are the main things, right? Number one, you have to be a good person, right? You have to be a good person, right? Number two, you can shoot my class standards on demand, right? Number three, you share the same ethos as I do with training. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, as long as it's the same ethos, right? And that gets tried to being a good person, right? The last one, because I don't charge anything for that, right? Is that there has to be some reciprocal benefit to it, right? Most of the endorsed instructors have their own ranges and they teach classes, right? So they host me once a year. Hunter and Matt, right, do it through Green Ops, right? All the Green Ops guys that have ever trained with me are endorsed instructors. That's how it works out, right? So they get their value through being able to use my name, mine logo, and saying they're an MSP and endorsed instructor. I get it because they help me fill classes, and that way, no, yearly fee or anything like that, any of that stuff becomes part of it, right? So that's how you become an endorsed instructor, right? If you hit all those things, I have final right of refusal, you know what I mean, on that stuff. To be a staff person, you have to AI for me a lot, and I have to be convinced that you could teach it on your own.
How many classes a year would you say that you use an AI?
103 classes, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can run an 18-person class because I run two relays of 9. I can do that with my eyes closed. I never teach 18-person classes, right? I think I did maybe 5 all year because it was an indoor range and the capacity was 7 or 8 targets across. Every other time it's, my average is 24 to 26, right? And I have to have an AI for that. Number one, just for safety purposes. Number two, there's no way that I can touch every single person without an AI in a class that big and keep my instructional standards to that level, right? Plus, that's after a 24-person class, you're trying to run that by yourself. At the very worst, if everything goes, you are absolutely smoked. You're worthless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I really like taking classes where there's an AI. I think I get a lot more value out of it.
Sure.
Because like you said, I mean, you've got 2 sets of eyes on you.
Yep.
Seeing what Hunter might pick up because he's AIing for you these past 4 days. He might pick up on something that you may look over or may not catch on. And like you said, when there's 24 people in the class, like you just can't.
Or, he may say something that resonates with the person that I didn't say. Or he said the same thing twice. And the person had to hear it twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's it,
And then anybody you have AI in for you is probably going to be a pretty high caliber, So it's not like it's just some random dude like an RSO. It's a guy that can shoot.
Yeah, but I say that I don't bring RSOs, I bring AIs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they will make you better. So.
And spinning off on that assistant instructor, your other company that you work with, Green Ops. That is by far the most instructor to student ratio I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
on a class, and you do it too. Sometimes you'll have 2 AIs in some classes. I've seen it, but that pistol class that we took back, the first class I took with your guys.
Oh yeah,
there was almost a 1 to 2 ratio. Yep. And when we were shooting, there were 6 people online. Looked up, and there were 7. It seemed like there were 7 instructors. It was like,
yeah, and originally a part of that.
Wait a second, what's going on here? There's more.
During the development of the Texas arm of Green Ops, it was getting everybody on the same page. So as it kind of progressed, it got a little bit more less of that.
Yeah, but it was good. It was
anytime I'm on the range of Green Ops, Matt's there with me, and vice versa. So
yeah, so that is definitely something that I like about both of those training companies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so it's funny, of all the companies out there in Northern Virginia, which there are many, right? The 3 companies I think that have always gotten along. My company, Mike Green of Green Ops, and John Murphy of FPF Training. Because we share that same ethos, right? We don't agree on everything, right? John likes to yell at people a lot more than I do, or than Mike likes to do, right? But the ethos is there of the instruction and the caring and the passion behind teaching it. Yep. So, and that always bleeds through. That's why they're so similar, right? And that's why it was a no-brainer to make most of the guys on Green Ops and Endorsed Instructor.
Yep.
So, yep.
Good crew over there.
Yeah, 100%.
Got to get Mike up here for a podcast one of these days.
Yep. Just got to nail Mike down. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, he's fixed to be really busy here in a few days when he's delivering packages all around the world.
That's the wrong Santa. He's murder Santa.
Murder Santa.
Yeah, he's murder
Murder
Santa.
Santa.
You don't want him
Different
coming.
job.
You don't want him.
Yeah, he's dealing with all the naughty folks.
He's got the naughty list.
So what do you got coming up? What else?
Oh, man, I got 9 days off coming up. That's what I got coming up, bro.
One more day.
So teach this class. I got like 9 days off, right? And then, we start over again. We got a couple classes in California, class in Washington. I forget where the other one's in. Then we got SHOT Show.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
going to be a good time. Hanging out with the Walther and Victos guys, hopefully hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
if we
man.
do anything.
Be there all
Happy
week.
to come out there. So we got that. That should be fun. I think this year is going to be a blast because everyone's all pent up
Yeah.
for the cancellations and, from what I understand, the lame show that happened last year. You know what I mean? So fired up to see a whole bunch of friends and have a good time out with that. And then it's the same thing, man. 101 booked for next year. Just gonna keep
2 of
on
those are
going.
here. We have
Yeah,
two.
yep, 2
Two
of them here.
And they're
The
sold out.
exciting thing,
Right? Almost sold out.
Probably
Maybe like a
already.
couple slots left.
And the exciting thing is, I think we've got another, if I'm not mistaken, right now, between all the staff instructors, another 15 plus classes scheduled for these guys. You got
Nice.
4, Russ has got like 4 or 5, and it's just going to grow. It's just going to grow.
Yeah, I'm
from
excited to see
Adding
that take
2
off.
weekly.
That's gonna be really cool.
there. Yep, just spreading that ethos, that knowledge, and just infiltrate everything.
Yeah. Prestige worldwide.
Yeah, there you
Wide,
go.
wide.
There you go. Or, when you get people like, Chuck Presper calls me up. He's like, bro, I had 10 of your students in my class. I'm like, you asked them if they've been in my class? They're like, no, I can tell. I know your guys. I'm like, hell yeah, bro. Stab that gun out the holster. Right? There you go. Yep.
Do you got Bill Blowers coming over to do any renovations?
Yard work?
Huh?
Is Bill coming over to do any
No, if
renovations?
anything, I think pretty close to where I'm going to be. He's doing a talk at the geriatrics unit of their local hospital. Bill's super old. So he's shifting from being a meat-eating SWAT man to giving direction to forward-thinking seniors. And
It's
good
a new
on
phase
him,
in his
bro.
life.
Good on him, bro.
Yeah.
Good on him. I love that man.
We're going to have to send this clip to Phil.
Yeah,
100%.
that'll be our first
100%.
clip.
Yep. Things that Scott can do that Bill can't. Talk shit on the BTO podcast because I'm on it. You're not, buddy. There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fantastic. Got anything?
Man, no, I don't know how
You
to
got
follow
it.
that.
You got anything?
What
do you got?
is
What do you got
soon.
coming up, Hunter? What do you got coming up?
So, starting in January, as of now, 4 classes on schedule, constantly adding more for the MSP side, still doing some stuff with Green Ops, and then with Onus rolling out within,
I was
probably
going to say,
the
that's
next-
a big thing coming up.
yeah, that's coming out within the next month. So
Okay.
we're excited.
You drop our sample plates off.
They are actually in the vehicle out front.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've got it.
Well, we need
ready
to
for
hurry up
good.
and end this so we can go get our
Right.
Sample plates.
Yeah, play with it a little bit.
No,
There you
I'm really excited for that. I think that's going to be really excited to see that. That's
Yeah,
gonna be
we've
awesome.
poured our heart and soul into it.
I can
We
tell.
didn't want to come to the
It's-
market with just
it's-
another product. We wanted it to be.
It's a long time
valuable.
coming, and y'all are doing it right. Not just releasing something to release something. You're taking the time, and it's going to be worth it. That's really refreshing to see because like a lot of places are just so rushed to like we've got to get this out. Who cares what we'll figure it out. Y'all are really taking a good approach to it and making sure that everything's just right before it comes out.
Yeah, we didn't start out to this monetarily motivated. Like we wanted to solve a problem that exists, and we think we've done that.
Yep. I'm excited, man. It's going to be great.
Where could they find information about Onus Group and Green Ops?
So starting next week, they will be able to go to onusgroupllc.com. Also, the Onus Group LLC Facebook and Instagram pages to check not only product information but installation videos. It'll all kind of tie in together. And then as far as Green Ops stuff, green-ops.com. We've got updated schedules kind of rolling out every day.
And Scott, where can
Yeah.
they find your schedule at? Where can people contact
Yeah.
you or the boss?
We're gonna
back in-
post
couple ways.
his personal cell phone number in
Yeah.
the comments.
Just on the
You
screen.
can actually
right?
find it on the internet. I don't know, yeah. So if you go to my website, modernsamuraiproject.com, right, you'll have the digital map there. Some people don't like that. If you actually want a written out list of dates, if you go to Modern Samurai Project LLC on Facebook, the pin post is all of the dates there.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah. So go there. Yep. Good times. It'll direct you to the website where you can sign up, and all is good.
Good luck
A couple
finding
things
one
I
in
am. Oh, I'm
stock.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say good luck finding one available with open spots.
I know, right?
Yeah.
People get angry, bro.
It's like,
They're like,
oh, I'm
"Hey,
sorry that
I-
I'm successful.
all the classes are
seize
sold
the day."
out. You need to tell me where I can go find a class. I'm like, bro, I live life 3 weeks at a time. I can't do that. You know what I mean? But a couple things I am excited about next year, right? Other than the staff instructors taking off and seeing their success, is a class that we've done twice that I'm super excited about. Is a joint class between me and Chuck Pressberg,
Yes.
right? It's my red dot fundamentals and his no fail pistol. It has been an amazing time with people, right?
Yeah,
Everyone
I
thinks
can't-
it was going to be completely like we're going to be completely opposite of each other. We're not,
Yeah.
right? And it absolutely completely works. I teach day one, that kind of cuts in the fundamentals, the grip, all that other stuff. And then he teaches his decision-making paradigm through shooting small targets at distance, right? The reason why it works is because Chuck can do a 1.73, 3 and 2 on demand, and I can shoot 98 5X on a B8 on demand, right?
Yep.
So that works out great. The other one I'm super stoked about is myself and Donovan Moore, Point One Tactics, right? I forget what it is. I think it's coming up in November. Don't quote me on that, but the listing will be out soon. But it's our 3-day class,
Nice.
and without offending anybody else, right? The two guys from the AIWB platform that have the two hardest standards in the industry right now, and that concentration, we're going to be teaching together, and it's going to be an amazing time. So super excited about those classes.
And Chuck's class, when is that? Do you know?
Oh, a
Off
whole
the top
bunch
of
of times.
Modern
next year.
Samurai
Yeah,
Project.com.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because you
I
just
don't
had
know.
that one. You just
we just did one in
taught.
Franklinville a couple months ago.
Yeah.
We did one before then, about 2 months prior to that in the Des Moines area, right? It was great classes, great classes, right? We got a lot of, we share a lot of alumni, and they all came out to that class. Guys like Dakota, goddamn, what's Dakota?
Schaefer.
Dakota
Yep.
Schaefer, right? Guys like Paul and Emily Dugan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome
know,
people.
yeah.
Love those
Yeah,
two.
yeah. That was one I was like, oh, somebody took their
their
kid to
kid.
class.
Yeah.
That's so
Emily.
awesome. I looked close. I was like, oh, that's Emily. I feel
Oh,
so
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
She's
great.
so tiny.
Guys like Nate Rivera,
Oh, yeah, Gabe. He's a
people
good
don't know what his real name is, but Frank Woods.
Yeah,
from,
Frank.
Yeah.
from Light Fighter Tasker Network and stuff like that. It was a great. It
It
was
was a line full of hitters there.
Yeah, no, it looked
was
like a
great
good
time.
class.
Yeah, it was a great time, and it's awesome. Chuck shoots my part of the class. I shoot his part of the class, and we share ideas. And a lot of people have a lot of good time. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
Well-
Yep, it's a good time.
Thank you for coming out and
Yeah.
recording a podcast after 3 days on the range.
Good day. I mean, I can sit and talk shit to the best of them. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys being out there, and guys, as far as what you guys have been doing, I mean, I've seen this from the beginning of things. Meeting you through that time you hosted me, and what you guys have built here is absolutely amazing. I wouldn't say the culmination of it, but the addition to the BTO range, which, by the way, in case you guys don't know, I'm the one that came up with the name for BTO range. I mean, true or not true, Ike?
No, 100%.
100%.
You called me up. You're like, hey, brother.
It's like I'm trying to look for names. I'm like, bro, just
Yep.
BTO. It's like, oh my god,
Yep.
oh my god.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. Yep.
Right. I love when gun guys try and market.
Yeah.
It's always funny. It's always a funny time. You know what I mean? So not you, but the other people that were on that thread that we were talking
Yeah.
about. You know
Oh,
what
God.
I mean? It's like, here, what do you guys think I should name? Well, here's 10 paragraphs
Yeah.
about branding and all this other stuff. He didn't ask that.
Yeah.
What do you think you should name the range? Right? So
Yeah, he
yeah.
gave me a
Answer the
call.
question.
He's like, here's what you need to do. I'm like, holy shit, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And here we are.
here we are. There it is, man. It's great. It's awesome to see how much this has grown. And it's really because, good dudes do win. You have to be consistent,
True.
be a good dude, and you will win, despite what the haters say. So, yep, cool. Honored to be here, guys.
Yeah,
Honored to be here.
thanks for coming, man.
Yep.
And if you've enjoyed the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple, iTunes, whatever they call it now. Drop a comment on YouTube, Facebook,
All those
Instagram,
places.
all the
Everywhere.
places.
Share this.
Bathroom walls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Call for a good time or
yeah,
listen for
yeah,
a good
yeah,
time.
exactly.
But we appreciate you listening or watching. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doctor,
Thank you.
Doctor.
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 Doctor.